आप है मेरे यानी आपके अपने देसी आरजे विकास के साथ और आज मेरे साथ है अमू सुरेश। जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था एक स्पेशल इवेंट जो होने वाला है, हमारी इंडियन कम्युनिटी का एक स्पेशल इवेंट है और जिसको होस्ट कर रही है कैनबरा मलयाली एसोसिएशन। और एक ऐसी कम्युनिटी जो बहुत कलरफुल है और मुझे पर्सनली बहुत पसंद है क्योंकि केरला कौन नहीं जानता, और वहाँ का फूड और वहाँ का कल्चर और एवरीथिंग दैट इज देयर इज सो रिच एंड ब्यूटीफुल। तो आपको जैसे मैंने बताया कि मेरे साथ है उनकी प्रेसिडेंट अमू सुरेश। तो आई विल नॉट डू मच टॉकिंग एंड आई विल लेट हर इंट्रोड्यूस हरसेल्फ टू द लिसनर्स ऑफ एसीटी देसी। अमू, वेलकम टू एसीटी देसी।
Oh, thank you so much, Vikas. So myself, my name is Ammu Suresh. As Vikas mentioned, I'm the current president of Canberra Malayalees Association. So I got elected around 8 months back, and I've got another 4 months to go as a president. Usually our office is around 12 months time. Yeah, so as you were mentioning, because our biggest event is coming up on 4th of June, and we all are really excited about it, and all we are working towards it. The entire Canberra Malayali community, from north to south, east to west, they all are practicing, getting ready for this program. So that's me in a nutshell. Yeah.
All right, good. So that's you in a nutshell. But Amu Suresh, who is Amu Suresh? Amu, what I do usually in my show is I like to get a little personal to understand the backstory of the people that I'm talking to, because it's a story-led show. People, would like to talk about, if you are comfortable talking about your journey so far. Were you born in Canberra? I don't know. I mean, most people who might be listening to you on this show in Canberra or in India as well, and the other parts of the world where they listen to ACT Desi, they would like to know, the guest, the personal details, where were they born. So let me ask you, keep it simple. Were you born in Canberra, Australia, or were you born in India and then you traveled here?
Yeah, yeah. So I wasn't born here. So I was born in India, and I was born in Kerala. And I moved to Australia when I was 21.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to start guessing my age.
Calculating your age. No, 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 not nobody gonna guess it.
Yeah.
So we'll forget it that you said that 21 part. So you were born in India and you
So
traveled
I've
to
been here
Australia.
for a long, long years now. Let me put that.
Right.
So when I moved in, so I did. I was in Melbourne, not in Canberra to start with. I went back to my because I didn't complete. I did my undergraduate from India, but I didn't do my. So I continued studying here. So I did my master's in information technology. I was an undergraduate of chemistry, and then I went to Latrobe University, one of the beautiful, biggest campus university in Melbourne. So I did masters in information technology there. Why I moved to Canberra? That's pretty interesting because at that point of time we had a bit of a recession and people were trying to look for jobs, and I applied for all the grad entry jobs at that time, and I got two jobs with government. So I picked up that because I didn't want to do other jobs, which is not what I studied for 3 years. So I
Mhm.
picked up a job. I'm joined in Australian Public Service in 2009, and I moved to Canberra, and that was my journey. So as by profession, I'm a data architect, and I work with one of the biggest federal government agency now. And
Right.
I've
So yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Carry on.
so that's me. So and in Canberra, I've been in Canberra around 12 years now.
You said that you have undergraduate in chemistry and then you did postgraduate in IT.
Yeah.
How is that shift? What led to that shift?
Oh, that is also interesting because when I moved, I did I didn't complete masters in chemistry. I did start doing my masters in chemistry back in India. I did 1 year, so that's like 3 plus 4 years of my chemistry.
Hmm.
I loved the subject, and I wanted to be a teacher when I moved to Australia.
Hmm.
But for some reason, I enrolled for diploma in education, and then I thought that probably that's not the right things to do
Hmm.
because of the as a new migrant, I had my own challenges, and how understanding the culture, how kids are grown here. So I did start as my undergraduate diploma in education, and I decided to drop that, and I was in a very confused stage. Hey, what will I do? I spent my 4 years learning something with a different direction, and uh, but a very close friend of mine from Mumbai, she said, how about this course? They're taking people from science background. It's not necessary that you need to be an IT background, and maybe you can give like a 6 months try, and if you like it, you like it. Otherwise, you know. So I did try, and still after 12 years, when I look back, I'm an IT professional or a data specialist.
ओके सो अम्मू के बारे में हम और थोड़ी सी बातें जानेंगे क्योंकि जैसे उन्होंने बताया कि चैलेंजेस होते हैं हर किसी की लाइफ में व्हेन पीपल कम इन टू ऑस्ट्रेलिया देयर इज अ कल्चर शॉक देयर आर सो मेनी अदर शॉक्स दैट ऑल ऑफ अस हैव फेल्ट and have learned to live with them and then learned our way up. So all those talks will be there on the other side of the break, but do stay tuned because there are so much interesting things that are going to come up. और आप हैं मेरे यानी आपके अपने देसी आरजे विकास के साथ और ये है एसीटी देसी। नमस्ते, सलाम, सत श्री अकाल, वणक्कम, केम छो। ब्रेक पे जाने से पहले आप सब ने ये जाना कि मेरे साथ आज हैं सीएमए यानी कैनबरा मलयाली एसोसिएशन की प्रेसिडेंट अमू सुरेश, जो अपने बारे में कुछ बता रही थी हमें, और जिन्होंने अंडर ग्रेजुएट स्टार्ट किया केमिस्ट्री से और वो फिर स्लोली मूव हो गए आईटी की तरफ और कैनबरा की तरफ जहां रुख हुआ उनका, और जहां वो अब गवर्नमेंट में काम करते हैं और एक इतनी बड़ी एसोसिएशन को चला रही हैं जिसमें वो एक बहुत बड़ा इवेंट करने वाली है जिसके बारे में हम बात करेंगे थोड़ी देर में। लेकिन हम जाते हैं वापस। अमू, आपने बताया और मैं बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट है ये कि हर कोई जो यहाँ पे आता है उसकी एक स्टोरी होती है जब वो आता है और अपने तरीके से लाइफ को मोल्ड करता है। So you must have had some experiences because you said that you came in as a student and then you were in Melbourne and then there was recession and then you changed your field. You were confused for some time. So take us through like quickly कि कुछ एक जो challenges जो आपने face किए during that transition period from India to Australia and then after you did your studies and then you said recession. I understand that point. बट जो बिटवीन इंडिया एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड जो इनिशियल जो 1-2 साल होते हैं उसमें कुछ 2-4 चीजें आपको याद आती हैं, कुछ शेयर करना चाहेंगे और कैसे आपने you moved out of it and learned to stay and imbibe the culture of Australia?
Yeah, good question. So what I did, it was very good. Like I went for part-time jobs. So I worked in a coffee shop pretty much when I was doing my masters, and that too in a international terminal. This is like many years back. So when I was working in the coffee shop, that's like I only worked for 4 hours or so. So in that 4 hours, you meet how many people in the early flights that they're doing, probably 2,000 people I serve. So they come up with different, we have chit chats, so common lines of conversations. So that conversation is like, it's completely new. And I used to have, and all 3 years I was doing my university, I did that job. And when I got the job with the government, I was moving to Canberra. They said, "Can you be a full-time supervisor for that shop?" And I said, "I was just." But the amount of things I learned, how people crack jokes. Jokes are very important. Even what I understand is, jokes from Kerala is different to jokes from Tamil Nadu. So you're understanding the jokes or trying to be part of them and try to be fit and having that open mindedness to accept the new culture that you are trying to live in. So that's quite important. So maybe I was young, so I was very minded, and I was very curious. I was very curious about the culture itself. So I was learning really fast, and I think that really helped me to get a job in professionally, and that really helped me to go up in my career too, because when it's not just about having a lot of qualification as well, it's about how you present yourself in your workplace, in your community, and it's all adds up. So every bit, I think you have to start listening, and you should go and read maybe more, and you should be very very open to the new culture, and you just have to adapt. And I think yeah, so that's where
अडेप्टेबिलिटी पे एक क्वेश्चन मुझे जो दिमाग में पूछना है वो आपसे, वो ये है कि जब हम इंडिया से आते हैं, we have these dreams, coming to in country like Australia, और वहां पे इतनी अच्छी अच्छी लोकेशंस के हमको पिक्चर्स या वीडियोस देखते हैं और हम कहते हैं वाओ ड्रीम लाइफ, एंड व्हेन यू लैंड अप हियर द इनिशियल समटाइम्स आर रियली वेरी टफ। तो आपने मुझे बताया कि आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड यू नीड टू अडैप्ट, यू नीड टू बी फ्लेक्सिबल, ऑल दोस थिंग्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बट कोई एक ऐसा बिटर एक्सपीरियंस आप शेयर करना चाहेंगे जो
oh,
जिसने जिसने this has also molded you, mind you, I mean, why I ask these questions is because these are the experiences that also mold us, in the sense sometimes you need to break something to make something new. So
Yeah.
बिकॉज इंडिया में अगर आप कहें कि मैं कॉफी शॉप में काम करता था केमिस्ट्री का ग्रेजुएट होने के बाद, तो देयर इज डिफरेंट सेम्बलेंस टू दैट व्यू, to where when you come to Australia and where the equality of labor or the jobs, it's very different. You that kind of a thing, कुछ कुछ एक एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा रहा हो आपका जो आपको अभी याद है, आपके दिल पे रहता है कि हाँ, कि यार ये थोड़ा सा अच्छा नहीं हुआ.
Oh yeah, so not maybe personally to me.
Hmm.
I still remember with 2 or 3 friends of mine, we
Hmm.
were in the crossing, and I was with them.
Hmm.
And what happened is, it's really funny that there are some boys. They were a P platers, which is and they were coming in the car in the signals, and they threw eggs on us.
Oh.
So, but luckily my mom called, and I turned around and I was trying to pick up the phone, so it didn't
Hmm.
really hit but rest of them.
Right.
But
Okay.
I think some of them were really homesick and being and they were really upset. But
Hmm.
but when I look at it back, back 30 years or 14 years, I can't stop laughing. So it's just that maybe it's at that point of time it was very, very sad, and I felt really
Hmm.
upset. The whole thing, they were just going to university. They did call some swearing words as well, so
Hmm.
I felt bad. But I think it's all part of the game, and
Yeah.
and and we just have to. It wasn't nice. It was not a nice thing, but I still remember that was very, very upsetting for me at that point of time.
But do you also think, from that point till now, have you come across, not yours particularly, because now that you've understood the culture, you have a extended circle and you work, in a decent organization where people respect you and stuff. But usually in your circle, newer migrants who come to you as a president also, you have a youth wing also. Sometimes do you still hear those kind of things that have happened to you 14, 15 years ago and still prevalent and similar kind of things?
Yeah, I'm very lucky to be in Canberra, to be honest. These things are predominantly on Canberra is a very nice, beautiful city for anybody to move in. So
Hmm.
so I hear very less things like that in Canberra, uh,
Right.
and and growing up kids, and all these things, and the university kids coming up for all the major universities in Canberra. There's a different experiences in bigger cities than Canberra, I guess. So in when because I've been living in this beautiful city for past many 13 years, I said,
Hmm.
and I hear very less about all these things.
Right.
But like there was a big rush of Indian students at that point of time, like
Hmm.
13 years back,
Yeah.
in cities like Melbourne and Sydney and all that. But I
Hmm.
think it changed. I think so.
हम पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस तो हमने शेयर कर लिए और हर किसी के होते हैं, इट्स नॉट एन इजी जॉब बैक इन इंडिया. जो लोग अगर इसको आज सुन रहे हैं या कोई भी जो माइग्रेंट सोच रहा है ट्रैवल करने के लिए, these experiences will definitely add up to their level of preparedness when they come here, and in terms of adaptability and flexibility, वो लेके ना आए कि हम इंडिया में ये थे तो हम यहाँ पर भी यही. ऐसा होता नहीं है. It's very different when you come here. It's a beautiful country. You have to start learning the processes, the way it functions. तो जरूर सुनिए अमू ने जो कहा, और अगर आपने नहीं सुना है तो आप ऑन डिमांड भी जाके 2XX FM पे उनकी बातें सुन सकते हैं. और मैं अपने फेसबुक पेज जो है ACT देसी FM पे भी ये वीडियो डालूंगा. आप जरूर सुनिए और देखिए कि अमू ने हमारे साथ क्या शेयर किया. अमू, यूजुअली मैंने बहुत सारे कम्युनिटी एसोसिएशंस के प्रेसिडेंट्स को इंटरव्यू किया है और मैं मिलता भी रहता हूँ. और अप्रोक्सीमेटली आई थिंक 40-50 एसोसिएशंस हैं कैनबरा में, जहाँ पे इंडियंस की पॉपुलेशन 15-20 हजार है. दैट्स ऑलवेज अ क्वेश्चन दैट आई आस्क एवरीवन. बट तो ये जो एक्सपीरियंस है प्रेसिडेंट होने का, ये कम्युनिटी में जिसमें हमेशा डाइवर्सिटी अंदर भी रहती है, अपनी कम्युनिटी में भी तो है, और बाकी तो खैर 25, 26, 27 स्टेट्स हैं और उसके बहुत सारे और लोग भी हैं जो उनकी अपनी मेंटेलिटी या माइंडसेट होता है. Share with us your experience of being a president of an association, and are you enjoying it? Just a brief.
Yes, yes, absolutely, yes. The good thing about my association is we have around not just women, we have
Hmm.
50% men and
Hmm.
50% are 50% men and 50% women. So it's 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 very hard to get something like that. Sometimes I've heard that associations would have all females coming in, giving it a
Mm,
try, but this is like equal biased, and we work really well in all the sections, like in youth. We have cultural wing, we have sports committee, we have media support, media subcommittees. We are
mm,
reviewing constitution this year, so there's a
mm,
constitution review subcommittee.
mm,
uh, a lot happening in this passage. So we are redesigning our website.
mm,
uh, we're doing a membership drive again, because
mm,
we're just going through who has moved out of Canberra
mm.
and coming in new. So we're doing a data clearance, because that's where I am professionally strong. So
Data scientist, huh?
so I'm trying to do some data cleansing on that.
Right.
And so that's happening. A lot of things are happening. So, and I think women in our community, including me, for past
Mm,
30, we were always working for the community, not
mm,
coming into the leadership line. We were
mm,
all behind whoever was in the executive committee, and we were like working behind. So this time around, a lot of senior people who've been ex-presidents and things like that, who suggested us. It's
mm.
not that. So it was from them, and
Mm.
predominantly men who suggested us from the
Right.
community. It's very interesting. And when I was coming up, then there was another person, another woman happy because I was there. Then that person was happy because another person, and we got about 50% of the women, in the committee. So and everybody works so hard, equally. So that's pretty.
Share with me the spice of managing the differences of opinion in an association so big, and how do you manage it? Your recipe.
uh, so we just have to probably find our battles. To be honest, some
Mm,
things are not very relevant,
mm,
and we just have to ignore certain things. But if it is really so that's one thing that I take it as personally,
mm,
because there will be some noises here and there, but sometimes you just have to understand what are the real problems, and is that really something that we need to face, or what is the majority wants. And then so, and we have only 12 months to work, and it says the moment things are handed over and things like that, it's very, and we just have to make sure that some changes you can't make it
mm.
very fast. So yeah, you just have to understand.
Do you
Don't
do you do you think do you think women are better managers of differences than men?
I wouldn't say that, because it's all people to people, I guess, because
Mm. So then you're saying you're not. Women are not.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say anything.
No, I didn't say it.
I'm putting you in a soup right now.
No, I think they're multitask. Like, they can manage a lot of things at one point of time. Like, they are pretty multitasking humans, women. They can cook, and sometimes I have the Zoom meetings of my executive committee after work, and they
Mm.
might be cooking, they might be feeding kids, but still they're in the meeting.
So when
And
you are having a meeting, what does your husband do?
he looks after the kid. he,
So
he,
he's
he
also multitasking, right?
yeah, but I have to say, because
Mm,
there are around, like, the guys, they also think that the support that you get from your partners, especially from an Indian kind of background that we are in, and they said, hey, go do it, and let's manage this. What's your day looking like on Saturday
mm,
and Sunday? And another thing is that it's not uh, and we share our duties, like, we do things together. Sometimes
mm,
we do separately, and kids things we share. So such, and sometimes we get busier when the events are coming up, so
mm.
that's a bit stressful for us, but we do manage
But,
things.
good the point that you have raised here. I know for a fact that I recently moved from India to Canberra, Australia, and things are changing around the world, even in India as well. Like the kind of support that men generate for women as well
Yeah,
in India, back in India, and here of course they have to do, because everything in Australia you have to do it yourself. If
yeah,
you won't do, there won't be happening.
yeah.
So if you have to compare, if anything special that you can think of right now, you know, the kind of support that you will get in India from a
Mhm.
male counterpart to what you get in Australia, are there any similarities? Are there any dissimilarities?
The thing is that I didn't. So India, I didn't run a family much.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really, share those kind of
But
things.
your parents and your extended family.
My dad was very, very, to me, from my perspective, he was very open to my dad. My mom gave so much freedom. She could drive, she could drive. She could go for shopping. She could manage things. So I grew up watching all that. So um, yeah, that's. So I can't really comment on
Mm.
how different that is. But I think it's all people to people as well. Not
Right.
just, yeah. It's
Mm.
not, can't generalize.
Yeah.
It's very people to people. Yeah.
Before we move on to our next section, which will be about your event specific question, one thing that you would like to, advise or counsel younger immigrants or, the second generation about how do you cope if you get in a tense situation at school or college or generally, what are your coping mechanism if you want to just say three nuggets that you have learned over in your life? How do you cope and manage if you are in a difficult situation like you have faced or people face in general life?
Yeah, I think always go to your support system. That's
Hmm.
very important. You need to talk. So I think coming as a student, sometimes parents have a different perspective about Australia, same as us. But things will
Right.
be so different when you pack up, like when you reach here. So you need to talk to your support system, and sometimes they have like they can give you good advices. So and don't say that probably I don't want my parents to know about it. That's not right. So you'll
Hmm.
break.
Yeah.
Another that sometimes is always good to take a break and go back home to India. I mean, so if you're and get that break, sometimes. So I think in the initial years, I think
Hmm.
you should travel more,
Right.
and get that balance to, and that will just help you.
Hmm.
So that's another thing that probably what I didn't go much back to India in the earlier days
Hmm.
of my grade. No, maybe I went in my second year, but I
Right.
think the flight, if you have, and it's not COVID, so now we have all the flights
Yeah.
open.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good to go and visit your family and things like that,
Hmm.
and make a networking system. So every state has got their community people. So what
Hmm.
we have a youth wing where
Hmm.
it is open just for new students coming in, new migrants coming in. So we identify them. We have a WhatsApp group, a big WhatsApp student forum group. Especially we started that in the COVID time
Right.
because all lost their jobs, all these, and they couldn't go back home. So
Hmm.
we are here, and it's not that we are settled, or we were there before. So we
Right.
came all the way through the journey, and we are here not to judge. We are here to support,
Sure.
and that extra help. So that's why associations are there for.
Hmm.
It's not just doing cultural events. It's
Right.
there. So we have that kind of WhatsApp group. We have point of contact.
Hmm.
We did a lot of things in the COVID time too. So I think reach out to the community that they are living in, identify them. There's Facebook, Instagram. Who are they? Go for
Hmm.
one, socialize, get more help, and then
Okay.
you more friends.
Right. So beautiful advice, I must say. And just to recapitulate so that it's very concise, uh, you have a support system, make a support system. If you don't have, go back to them and talk. Don't bottle up the feelings. Second is, have a community group or a network of people so that, you mingle with the right people, mingle with the similar kind of people and can share your experiences. And third, very important one is you got to take a break and go back to India sometimes and connect to your roots. Because ऐसे कहते हैं ना कि दुनिया से सब लोग जब शांति ढूंढने आते हैं तो इंडिया की तरफ ही आते हैं। तो हम तो इंडियंस हैं तो हमको तो जाना बनता है। एसीटी देसी पे आज का शो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग रहा है और हमने एक लिटरली एक जर्नी तय की है एक ऐसे पर्सन की, एक ऐसे इंसान की जो इंडिया से ट्रैवल करके आया था एज अ केमिस्ट्री ग्रेजुएट और यहाँ पे आके उसने आईटी में मास्टर ग्रेजुएशन मास्टर कोर्स किया, बाद में गवर्नमेंट में जॉब की और अब इस टाइम पे कैनबरा मलयाली एसोसिएशन की प्रेसिडेंट है। मैं बात कर रहा हूँ अमू सुरेश की। अमू, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर शेयरिंग सो मच दैट यू ऑलरेडी हैव। अब जो मुद्दे की बात पे आते हैं, जो इवेंट होने वाला है 4 जून को, उसके बारे में थोड़ी बात करेंगे। और ये जो इवेंट आई थिंक ये 1-2 साल के बाद हो रहा है, क्योंकि अब कोविड का टाइम था तो यू कुडंट हैव द गैदरिंग्स एंड स्टफ. सो just share the details about this event, and if I have to ask something in between specific, I'll ask myself. But tell us all that you have about this event so that I can capsulate that and I can promote this event in a way that you want. But don't say any sponsor's name in this.
No, 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 no. Sponsors are big because they give us funding, but I'm not going to say any names here.
Yeah.
So
You're
they,
doing you're doing anyway very good with your sponsors and putting all those posts out. So they
yeah,
don't need much publicity.
yeah, of course. So which is our program is on 4th of June, 2022. Usually, Malayali Association have major 3 or 4 events, and in that, this is one of the major events where we give a platform for all the community people to showcase their talents. Uh, so initially, it started as like a small one, but it is just unbelievable that how much talents we have in Canberra. And we identified that over the years. So the program runs for 2.5 hours. It's at Llewellyn Hall in ANU, and it starts from 4:30 to 8:30, and dinner after that. So there's around 245 participants participating on that day in various forms: dance, acts, music, small little like short dramas, and things like that. So it's very exciting, and we started practicing and preparing for this for 3 months ago. So we started off in beginning of March.
Hmm.
So yeah, so finally it will be all showcased on 4th of June.
Right. So what's the demographic of, like, what's the youngest in this participant list, and what's the age of the oldest in this
I'm
participant
so
list?
happy that you asked this question to me, because the youngest would be 3 and the oldest will be 66.
Nice. So that's the kind of diversity, age diversity also we are talking about, that we have in our community across, Indians who are living in Canberra. And जब आपने बोला ना 200 से ज्यादा 245, तो मुझे लगा सारे जो बच्चे हैं यहाँ के वो आपके शो में पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं कैनबरा से. सब लोग वहीं चले गए. But it's a big community, as I said, and that's what the responsibility of a president. And I'm sure you're doing very good, and I can see a lot of stress on your face, and I can keep and I can vouch for that, because जब भी मैं आपसे बात करता हूँ, I can only hear ये आने वाला है, ये कर रहे हैं, और हमारी जो ये मुलाकात आज हम कर रहे हैं, ये भी बहुत मुश्किल से हुई है टाइम निकाल के. तो थैंक यू सो मच अमू फॉर दिस. मुझे थोड़ा सा कुछ बताइए कि किस किस टाइप के एक्ट्स हो रहे हैं इसके अंदर. जैसे आपने बोला कि सिंगिंग है, कल्चरल कुछ है, ट्रेडिशनल कुछ है, मॉडर्न कुछ है, कुछ हिप हॉप मिक्सचर है, कुछ फ्यूजन है. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एक्ट्स आर वी एक्सपेक्टिंग हियर?
Yeah, so we do, it's not just all Malayali kind of things, but our traditional dances, like, but so all the traditional dances are all showcased as well. But we do have Bollywood performances. We do have all other some of the languages also people are
I
performing.
hope that I hope there's not much Bollywood. I mean, I don't hate Bollywood as I'm saying this, but I love Bollywood. I love because, but I want to see some more cultural things in Canberra,
Yeah, yeah,
because
definitely.
everywhere I go, it's only Bollywood, Bollywood,
No,
Bollywood. I
that
think
that's
there's much more to Bollywood, than our community can offer.
yeah. So because if I know you're coming for the event, you will be really to see the cultural things that they are going to, the traditional performances.
Hmm.
But um there are kids who want to do some of the Bollywoods. We can't, if they want to do it,
Yeah,
we are
yeah,
not them. But you will be really we have some classic trained dancers from India, from Kerala,
yeah.
who's doing trainings and things like that. That's been
Hmm.
happening on very traditional classical dance forms. So that's happening. There are some instrumentals as well. There are acts like the small scripted dramas, and
Hmm.
there's one thing that we are doing this time, which is very interesting. It's called Navarasa,
Hmm.
a component where we are doing some dance or act on 9 expressions, emotions. That will be the last program of the event, which runs for 15 to 20 minutes. And in that, there will be 9 components.
Hmm.
Uh, in that, we go through different 9 emotions, which
Nice.
like sadness, or laughter, or anger, or courage. All 9 rasas.
पर एक क्वेश्चन जो इसके साथ आता है मेरे दिमाग में, वी जस्ट एट द एंड ऑफ द शो राइट नाउ, बट इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू आस्क यू हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इट इज एज अ प्रेसिडेंट और अ कम्युनिटी मेंबर और एन एल्डर in this community called Australia, where we represent Indians, to keep our culture alive, and how do we imbibe those values, obviously adapt the values that we have in Australia, but we do keep our values which are there, language, culture, food, and feel proud to have those values in us. Because sometimes I feel, I mean, I too have, kids, and try to keep them, grounded in the sense that, you should be proud of who you are. It's nothing wrong that you are an Indian, because you should be actually proud, because Indians are everywhere and doing very good. बट वो जो एक एक जो लेवल होता है ना, थोड़ा सा कभी कभी मुझे लगता है, आई फील दैट इज लाइक अ डुअलिटी, एंड समटाइम्स डुअल माइंडेडनेस विद किड्स हैव, इट कंफ्यूजेस देम, एंड हाउ डू यू मेक श्योर कि दे स्टिल हैव दैट वैल्यूज एंड द कल्चर कीप गोइंग ऑन, एंड हाउ डू यू डू इट?
It's a very, we can talk about hours on that. It's a very interesting question. But we don't, I personally, it's all again, I personally don't enforce anything on my kids. But at the same time, I try to take them to India and try to go to the relatives, show them some movies, and try to speak your own mother tongue or dialect at home. And but I don't enforce anything which them bit, so but it's your journey, and you have to make sure that you take them, go back to where mom and dad has come from. So going back to the event, we're doing a special piece of thing, which is 3 segments, which is we're talking about India, we're talking about Kerala, that's where the community is coming from, and we are talking giving an acknowledgement to the landowners of Australia. So we are doing, and around 60 kids are performing, which is starting with the acknowledgement of the country of Australia, and we'll take off from Kerala and India. So we have created a 10 minutes performance which integrate all 3 cultures.
आई थिंक टिकट्स, अगर आपकी किस्मत अच्छी है तो 2-4 बची होंगी, अगर नहीं बची होंगी तो फिर आपको अम्मू से ही बात करनी पड़ेगी अगर टिकट चाहिए तो। मुझे लगता नहीं कि टिकट बची होंगी, बट फिर भी यू कैन ट्राई योर लक. So thank you, Ammu, once again for taking out time and talking to ACT Desi, and sharing your views, which are very important, from your perspective, and to the future audiences who will be coming to Australia or already are here in Canberra. There's a good tongue twister that I had. तो उन सब के लिए बहुत जरूरी है ये चीजें, एक्सपीरियंसेस से यू कैन लर्न एंड गो अहेड इन लाइफ एंड डू बेटर, बिकॉज वी आर हियर टू डू बेटर, राइट? एंड ऐसा नहीं कि हम पीछे चले जाएं, अच्छा ही करने के लिए आए हैं, और अच्छा कम्युनिटी के लिए भी करते हैं, और आप भी कर रहे हैं. और इसी के साथ आई विल टेक योर लीव, एंड थैंक यू सो मच. आप मेरी ऑडियंस को आप सबने सुना. अम्मू कुछ लास्ट वर्ड आप कहना चाहें?
I want to say, because thank you so much, ACT Desi, for supporting CMA. I'm very glad, and that I know this channel, and I'm happy to be part of this and come here and talk about it. I'm also looking forward ACT Desi as a media partner to come for this event and broadcast our event the way you can. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. No. It's as I said, it's not really a Hindi platform. ACT Desi, I make it as an Indian platform. India is so diverse, and I want to keep it like that, to showcase whatever I can show with Malayali community, with Gujarati, with Tamil, Telugu, everyone. Why stop at one when you have so much of diversity and culture, you can cater to. So, जब तक हम मिलते हैं दोबारा, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा, और लेवलिन हॉल में 4 जून को जरूर पहुंच जाइएगा. शुभ रात्रि, शब्बा खैर, गुड नाइट.
Thank you.